Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Back here where we need ya. Back here where we need ya. Yeah, the T's in my life, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. All right, give it a stretch. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hopefully, that last work session was a productive one for you. For me, I'm almost done with all this post radio show promo stuff, social media things. So I've been posting to a lot of different social media, with different accounts, and so I'm almost done with that. So we'll see. Cool. All right. So for this break session, I want to talk about something that I showed off last week, like a demo I was kind of creating, like just like a proof of concept. It was the to-do list thing where it had WebMCP. It uses like the prompt API that's coming into Chrome, and also WebLLM, where you kind of like download the large language model to your web application, and you can use it that way. You know what I'm saying? And the prompt API is the LLM is already built into Chrome, and you can use that also. And with WebMCP, it kind of sets these tools so that other external AI agents can navigate your website and run tools and functions and things. And so that was my whole goal of that application, is to create like a set of tools using like WebMCP, but being able to not only use it with WebMCP, but also through like the AI model that you download through WebLLM or using prompt API. And it worked pretty well. So I'm going to be building on that more. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of cool to be able to, through natural language, operate the website where I have to like actually like saying in the code, I want you to do this. Like the AI kind of figures out the different tools and makes it happen. So that way you don't have to explicitly try and code every sort of option that somebody could come up with, right? So yeah, so it's interesting. Some of the stuff is not ready yet. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm kind of like still kind of going along as it's going along. And so with that, one of the things, like I mentioned, was the WebMCP. And so there's been a new, because right now it's an early preview. And so I've been kind of playing around with it. And I just saw this blog post was posted like 4 days ago. And so I wanted to kind of go over it because I haven't really read through it. I saw it. I'm like, oh, it's interesting. So I'm going to share my screen here. This one here. Cool. So I guess a question that folks may have come up with is this: when to use WebMCP and MCP, regular MCP. And I haven't gone through it, but for me, WebMCP is basically turning your website into like an MCP server, right? So that way agents know how to interact with it. Whereas MCP is being able to give it tools, and sometimes with like external servers, or maybe like you npm install a package or whatever. And so it gives it those tools or resources, a bunch of different things you can do. It gives them more capabilities, your AI agent, to be able to do things the way you kind of want it to do, by providing like, hey, this is how you would do this thing. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you have like a server, because I work at Vonage. And so we have 2 MCP servers. And one of them is like you put in your credentials or whatever. And so you can like create applications. You can send an SMS. You can send like a voice call with, you put in the text and it'll say it for you. So things like that. So you don't have to leave your IDE, the thing you're working on, to be able to test things or do whatever, right? We have another one that's an external server that you can put into your IDE or whatever you want. And if you have any questions about the documentation, it has all the that's why it's an external server, because we changed the docs. So that way it's always like updated, right? And so that way you can get the latest thing all within your IDE without having to go to the website and search for docs. You can get the answers you need or code snippets or whatever you want directly where you're working, right? So you can keep in that flow. And so for me, WebMCP is kind of, instead of having like a separate external server or whatever, and you have your web application, you don't need to set up another. So it's not like one replaces the other. It just depends on what you're using. You know what I'm saying? And so with WebMCP, if you want people to be able to interact through AI. Now, what I think would be an interesting use case, and I'm not sure if I've seen it anywhere, but like I just created like an MCP app for our MCP tooling server binding thing where you can like send messages, whatever. So one of the things is like we have a reportings API. So if you're like, how many like text messages were outbound in the past week or whatever, normally it would give you like a list of like numbers and all those other things. So I created a like a charting MCP app. So MCP apps give you like a visual thing in your actual IDE or wherever you're doing your, you know, your natural language asking AI stuff, right? So it'll pop up in there. So it's like an iframe. And so I just created like a charting thing. So instead of just seeing a whole list of numbers, you're able to see it in like a bar chart, line chart, whatever the AI decides. You can tell it what kind you want also, but the AI, if you don't, the AI will decide based on the numbers that come back from the reporting API and plot it out for you, right? And and then you'll be able to like copy it to your clipboard or download it. So if you want to include it into like a report or something, you'll be able to do all that again within your work area flow thing. So you don't have to go out to something else to do that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so stuff like that. So it'd be cool, I think, if, I'm not sure how this would work, but if your MCP app had WebMCP in it when it loads, so that way, if you want to do something more complex, you know what I mean? It would be able to know the tools that it needs to call within that little iframe to be able to do it all within there and then show you the output or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like if you're like, hey, generate a video or something, right? I mean, you can kind of like well, I don't know if you could do it like in Claude, but like in Gemini, the Gemini app that I use, you can like click to generate a video or whatever. I'm not sure about the other ones. I don't know how that would work. But if you wanted to have like maybe your own WebMCP thing, or okay, this would be interesting. Like if your MCP app, right, was a WebMCP, and it was like a video editor. So you wanted to maybe clip parts of it or whatever. So you can maybe like, hey, generate a video and then use it to edit it maybe or something, like you'll like generate a video and you're like, well, chop off this part, you know what I'm saying? Insert this thing and it kind of be able to do all that in there. I don't know. People can come up with all sorts of things, but that's just me kind of like spitballing stuff now. I don't know, but they're going to kind of go through when to use WebMCP and MCP and not to use them, you know what I'm saying, for your use case, what have you. So here we go. All right. So again, shouts to Andre and Alexandra for putting this together. So in February, we announced that WebMCP is available for the early preview program, which I joined. And you can go ahead and check this out. It goes to that same blog that we talked about before. As AI agents become more common in browsers, like with the prompt API or with like the web LLM and all this other stuff, right? We've heard web developers ask this question: will WebMCP replace Model Context Protocol or just MCP in general, right? While I can see why you ask this question, is based on a misunderstanding. You don't have to choose between MCP and WebMCP to create an agentic experience. WebMCP is not an extension or replacement for MCP, like I was saying before. Instead, WebMCP and MCP addresses different needs. WebMCP lets you clarify the purpose of application features and provide a browser agent with additional capabilities to interact with your website. Yeah, word. A good analogy is the difference between a company's customer service call center and in-store expert. Okay. MCP is available on any platform at any time. It can pull up data and handle core tasks as needed. All right. WebMCP is available only on your website. Okay. Websites are typically user interfaces, UIs, designed for humans, not machines. WebMCP helps agents better understand UI. Okay, all right. So together, they help agents accomplish personalized tasks on behalf of human users. All right, cool. And then you can say they show you how to like to sign up for the early preview program. I did that when I've been signed up for a minute when they're doing like the prompt API, the writer API, like all the AI built-in browser stuff. I think, yeah, I think I've been since that. So that was like last year sometime. Cool stuff. So yeah, if you're interested in kind of seeing what's going to be happening on the web, it's a pretty cool program to check out, especially like with Chrome or whatever. You know what I'm saying? All right, so then go through the function and purpose. All right, so both technologies share the same philosophy to create a standardized and reliable way for applications to expose their tools to AI agents. All right, kind of like I was saying, like uh, now with WebMCP, you say, hey, this is what you can do with the website. And then you figure out how you want to combine these tools and this information I just gave you to be able to parse and get the user who asked for some information, how to get back to them. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to guess anymore. Like, what does this element do? Does this what it means? You know what I'm saying? You can know for sure now. Okay. In practice, this includes structured tool discovery, like I was saying before, predictable execution, again, by telling it like, hey, this is what this thing does. That's how you do it. And clear intent. They explicitly declare capabilities. Yeah. So cool. Yeah. So saying like agents would have to guess it. Yeah. Cool. All right, so yeah, so the key difference between them is where your application functionality lives. So like I said, MCP is for the backend. So like I said, at my job, we have like MCP servers. You know what I'm saying? One you can like download locally. Well, you have to because you put in your credentials. And then one is a server that you call into to get information. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what they're saying here. And then WebMCP is for the front end. So like your actual website. So WebMCP is a proposed browser standard with two APIs that exclusively interact with the browser's built-in agents. You can implement these APIs with JavaScript or HTML attributes, so declaratively or imperatively. The browser acts as the communicator between your website and the agent. Here you go. Consider WebMCP as a set of MCP-inspired APIs rather than a direct JavaScript implementation of MCP. WebMCP is purpose-built for the browser and emits various server-side concepts such as resources. Yeah, so resources is where you go through for like the MCP apps I was talking about before. And I guess that wouldn't make any sense because your thing is an app already, so you wouldn't need resources, I guess. I guess that's why, right? So they control how agents access your website, so you have like speed and reliability because, again, they don't have to guess, like, what does this element, HTML element mean or whatever. You can actually tell it. And then we wouldn't have to like try and figure out to call functions, to do things. You tell it how to call functions. Built to last, MCP tools connect to API logic, not design. Yep. Cool. You're in control. Yes, you can define whatever you need. Control UI access. So to understand the difference, consider who owns the UI. MCP apps render your application's UI within the agent's UI. So, okay, so they're talking about MCP apps now. And that's the thing I was talking about for the chart thing that I built. So it renders within an iframe the UI that you want. I wonder if they're going to talk about the thing I was saying, like having the web MCP in the MCP app. Let me see. Hold on. WebMCP helps agents interact with your existing website in real time. Okay, so they're not really saying that because the MCP app isn't like it's a hosted website. Well, I guess you could do that through like an iframe within an iframe, which is weird, but you can do that. And so if you wanted to embed your your existing website in an MCP app, you could put an iframe in it and I guess call through stuff. I'm not sure how that works. We have to try that out. It can access live session data, cookies, and DOM elements that are available only in a live browser tab. So yeah, so that was one thing I was kind of wondering, because that's why I'm thinking this is mostly for in-browser like AI stuff, because even now, this is where I was kind of like unclear about, because even now in the early access program, there's like there's an extension, a Chrome extension, and it kind of puts in like an AI agent next to your website, so then you can control things back and forth. And then, but then with my example, I kind of like took out that the whole thing with that, and then put it into the browser with the web LLM or the prompt API. And now what I'm trying now is like creating an MCP client in your website. You know what I'm saying? It's a pain because I have to do like a proxy to be able to think, but whatever, it's fine. So I'm working on that now. It's kind of like a side project I'm working on. And I got it working with an external server. Now I want to try to get it to work with the tools. You know what I'm saying? But neither in there. Yeah. So, okay. So yeah, so I'm wondering how that would work. So yeah, so it's only in a live browser tab. All right. So instead of your application being a guest within an agent with the MCP apps, the agent is a guest on your platform. Okay. Because I was wondering, I was like, well, how would, if I'm in my like Gemini app and I say, go visit this website, would it pull? But this is saying it needs to have a live browser tab. So yeah, so I don't think it would work that way. I never tried it. I don't know. So we'll see. Importantly, WebMCP tools are ephemeral. They exist only when your page is open. So I guess you couldn't, unless you told like your AI and whatever it is to open up a browser and do it there. Okay. Because it's not like, because one of the examples they use is like to book a flight, right? And the way they're doing that, they have the extension and there's like, hey, book a flight or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it shows it on the website. That is the extension is next to. What I wasn't sure about, and I was like, it really didn't make sense to me. So this is making more clear sense that like, if I'm in my, I don't know, Gemini app and I say, go book a flight on this website, how would it know? You know what I'm saying? Like it couldn't, like I would have to see it. You know what I'm saying? So unless I say open it in a browser and do these things on there, I don't think that would work that way. You know what I'm saying? Like I would need a browser open like this is saying. So yeah, okay. Once a user navigates from your site or closes the tab, the agent can no longer access your site or take actions. Okay, so that makes sense. All right, cool. All right, real quick. So they have like a nice table to be able to show you whatever you need. It'd be cool, like if this was an actual like MCP app, they would show it in there. That'd be cool. But so when choosing the right solution for specific features or functions, consider context and availability. So they have MCP, WebMCP. So for purpose, make data and actions available to agents anywhere, anytime. And so I'm guessing this is even like, again, with the experiment I'm trying with the web MCP client, you know what I'm saying? And not web MCP, but like an MCP web client. Probably that's the best way to say that. Something that's in your browser, that's an MCP client, and it can connect to, I don't know how you would do, I mean, I guess you could do like an MP, I'm not sure how that works. Again, I have to play around with that. But I know it works if you connect to an external server. I got that working. Like our documentation server, I have an app. What can I show that? I'd have to like log in. Maybe I'll show that next week, whatever. But I have an MCP client running in the browser, and is able to call our documentation external server, MCP server, and it'll give you back the answer there. And it has like this whole marked library, and it shows like any markdown. It shows it pretty cool. I mean, so yeah, maybe I'll show that next week. All right. So let's see here. Now the web MCP, the purpose, makes a live website ready for instant interaction with agents when a user visits the site. So yeah, so I'm guessing, so the agents will have to be in the browser or in the site, I'm thinking. So kind of like with my web LLM and prompt API. So I think that's where that's going to be really powerful, like where those things are going to kind of help out with. All right, cool. Life cycle. So a persistent server and daemon. So like your local area or whatever it is that you have in there. And then the WebMCP is ephemeral, again, because it only lives as long as the tab lives, basically. And the connectivity. Oh, global. So yeah, so desktop, mobile, cloud, web, all that stuff. So yeah, so again, web. So you can use it for the web. I guess kind of like with my idea of the MCP client, I think. Yeah, maybe. And then this one, environment specific for WebMCP browser agents. So it's within the browser. Okay. Oh, I guess when they say web, that means like you can search the web, maybe, and the cloud. Okay. Now UI interaction headless and external, so like the MCP apps, right? Whereas with the web MCP is browser integrated and DOM aware. You know what I'm saying? So like I mentioned, the imperative and declarative like way of declaring your tools and stuff like that. And then discovery, agent-specific registration flows, all right? And then tools registered on the web page during the user's visit, all right? And then use case performed background API actions, whereas this one navigates and actuates on a live web UI. All right. So yeah, so this the MCP is mostly like background stuff. It does things. And then whereas with the web MCP, you can actually see it happening on the website that has the web MCP like in it. Cool. And then the most effective, okay, so this is what they're saying like would be like really good strengths of them. So the most effective agentic applications use both MCP and web MCP to benefit from the strength of both technologies. So you manage core logic with MCP. So your MCP server acts as a foundational service layer. It handles the core business logic, data retrieval, and background tasks. This ensures your service is platform agnostic and always available to agents. All right. So like the thinking stuff, all right, and the computations and things is with MCP. But then build a contextual UI with Web MCP. Web MCP is the final step. A connection for agents directly to your website is designed for contextual in-browser interactions, letting an agent act on the user's behalf with speed and reliability while the user has your website open. Okay. Okay. All right. That's the thing. With Web MCP, there's like, I'm pretty sure we spoke about it before. There was like a couple of ways people like have tried to implement Web MCP like their own way. And one actually had like a little blue like button in the bottom right corner. And if I remember correctly, you would click that and it would give you like credentials kind of, right? To be able to put into your agent, wherever it is, in your other browser or your thing you downloaded, wherever. And then that's how you connected. It was through like the transports and all that other stuff. It was pretty cool. And there was another one where it is like a Chrome extension. And then, so it's a whole stuff, right? And so that's interesting. So if you want to use both, okay. So consider MCP and WebMCP as partners, not opponents. WebMCP provides a high fidelity way for a browser-based AI agent. So yeah, so again, I guess like with prompt API or like using the web LLM to interact with a specific world the user sees in their tab. Okay. All right. So then what's next? You can go and change the program there. All right. That's pretty interesting. So like it makes it clearer for me at least, because that whole part where I wasn't sure about like how would an external AI interact with your web application using the web MCPs if the browser wasn't open. So it turns out the browser does have to be open. So you'd have to say maybe in your agent, like open the browser, go to this URL, and then I need you to do these things. And by doing that with the web page open, the MCP agent, the AI agent that you're using would then be able to see the tools from the web MCP and know how to interact with it to make the changes. Whereas I think the way I'm going to mostly use it is, at least for my projects, is having an AI agent in the browser, in your application, whether it be through the prompt API when that's ready or like web LLM, as a fallback, and being able to, on the site, do everything you need to do. So you don't even need like an external AI agent. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't started there, if you just happen to land on the website and you wanted to do stuff, you can do that. Or if you're on an external AI agent, you'll still be able to do the same thing. You just have to open it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Okay, cool. So that's at least as far as in my mind, how I would go and do that and integrate it into the project. So yeah, so hopefully that was useful. I posted a link to it, so it'll be next to the recording of the video on untilit.works. Again, shouts to Andre and Alexandra. Feel free to check it out and click and join the early preview program. It's pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? It's funny because one of the things, it changes a lot, and because it's early. And one of the things, I built the demo, and so I was calling all the tools in one call. Like I was just initiating it in one call with a provide context. And then come to find the next week, that's gone. they took that out because I can understand it's like security thing. So I understand. So now I just like loop through the loop and register them individually. But it's just kind of funny that it was working, then it wasn't, and I did nothing to it. So, but yeah. So if you want to be on the cutting edge, go ahead and check it out. All right. So shout out to them. I'll tag them in my social medias where I can. So mostly probably Blue Sky. All right. Awesome. Let me get y'all back to work so I can get back to work. All right. So have you tried WebMCP? Let me know because I think it could be pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? So word. All right. At least from what I've seen so far, from what I've built, I can see it being useful, especially making it like explicit what an AI agent can and cannot do on your web application. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, keep those hallucinations down. So let me send y'all back to work so I can get back to work. Here's a track from Anthony Cruz, aka Butter. The track's called Thank You. And when we come back, we'll take either a look at an artist's website or maybe another thing I found interesting on the web that happened. But we'll probably take a look at an artist's website because that's what I've been doing. So we'll see. All right. So again, thanks for hanging out. Anthony Cruz, aka A Butter. Thank you. All right. Y'all be easy and peace.
I want to say thank you for holding on. When a brother was down and out, now I feel so strong. And I want to say thank you for being there. When a brother had nowhere to turn to, you were there. And I feel like, hey. And everybody says, hey. We spread love like, hey. I want to say thank you for holding on. When a brother was down and out, now I feel so strong. And I want to